So today I have the honor of introducing Noonan for her senior speech. Noonan and I really started to become friends in 8th grade. We would hang out together every morning before school and frantically do our homework together. Noonan is such an amazing human being, and I am so lucky to have known her this long and had the chance to be friends with her. Um, she's such a reliable, caring person, and she's so committed and involved with everything she does. From swimming to newspaper, she puts 100% of her effort into everything she does all the time. And I'm so happy that I get to know her, and I've learned so much from Noonan, and I can't wait to see what she does in college. So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Daniela Noonan, and I wanted to finally share my senior speech. It's a few weeks, if not months late, but that's exactly what I want to talk about. So, getting ahead of myself, I don't have any note cards or papers or essay written. I just kind of wanted it to be straight from the horse's mouth and talk really openly. When I was in 6th grade, I saw my first senior speech, and it was a girl that like ripped open her shirt, and it had Batman on it, and she was like, "Unleash your inner Batman, your superhero," and I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. I'm sure many of this, like everyone can relate. That some senior speeches, people are rollerblading, they have horses, they have friends, they do gymnastics. It's so cool. So I really kind of put a lot of pressure on what my senior speech is. Like most people, I thought about it in the shower. I was washing my hair. I'm like, oh, I can talk about like hair products. Then I was like crying over my homework. I'm like, I've talked about stress. And then I was like doing, I don't know, newspaper. And I was like, I talked about newspaper. I just had so many ideas floating around my head, and I was just super excited. And then senior year hit, and I realized that I'm not comfortable sharing a lot of stuff. I watched so many senior speeches, and they're so incredibly personal. They really open up, and that's really, really important to see, because to see people's like experiences and to understand what they're going through, that's really amazing. But I wasn't at that point. I couldn't talk about some of the like hard times that I went through because I don't want to, and I don't feel comfortable. And I also, when I was watching some senior speeches, I was like, they're so strong, because they were able to like start crying and then just continue on. And I'm like, that is so strong of them to be able to do that, but I can't. So then my senior speech was coming up, and I was like, oh no, what am I going to write about? So I busted out a few drafts. They all made me cry. And I was like, okay, I'm weak. I must be so weak. I can't even talk about these really cool topics without crying. So I put off my senior speech, I tried it again, and I just thought, wow, I must be so weak to not be able to write a senior speech. And so then it was late, and all this goes on. But my thing is that it's not weak. It really isn't. Being able to understand your boundaries and your limits is actually really strong and really important. Understanding yourself is probably the best thing you can do for yourself now and in the future. You're kind of stuck with this person for the rest of your life. Like the meat in your head that is like throwing electricity at each other kind of dictates how we live our lives. So understanding your boundaries is not weak. And while I was watching some speeches too, I got really upset. The other person is burying through it, and I was like, I can't watch this because I'm going to start crying and feel really bad. So I would click away. And I thought, wow, weak again. But no, knowing your limits is strong. Being able to like know what triggers you and to avoid it is not weak. You're not sensitive. You just know yourself, and you know how to take care of yourself, because it really is a form of self-care by like not doing things that make you upset. So, in case anybody else was struggling with that, I wanted to pop on here and say, like, it's okay. You're not weak for not being able to broach certain topics. And there's a plethora of other things you could talk about. You could talk about, like, shampoo and just which one's your favorite and the journey to finding shampoo. But I wanted to talk to people who maybe started their college essay and then were like, oh, I don't want anyone reading this, and they've crumped it up and felt like, oh, I can't do this. Or people that have tried writing a paper for English and then gotten super self-conscious that other people are going to read it, and then they don't want to do it anymore. It's okay to feel that way, and it's okay to talk about other things besides that, because you're just knowing yourself, and you know what's going to upset you or what's going to make you happy. And for me, this topic, it makes me happy because I feel like other people probably feel the same way. They probably started writing a draft for something or another, and then realize that it really upsets them, and they don't feel comfortable sharing it. And then they probably started feeling bad, like, oh, I must be so weak because this other girl talked about a similar experience and she didn't cry. I'm crying. But it's not weak. You're strong for knowing yourself. And the people that do that, you're strong too for getting through some very traumatic events and also talking about that. You are all strong, and you don't have to feel bad. You don't have to feel like you're weak. So although this is a very, very different speech than what I imagined when I was in 6th grade, or even what I imagined at the beginning of this year, I felt like it was really important to share. Thank you so much, and I hope everyone has a good rest of your year.